The debt bomb is ticking. Should we raise taxes? Should we do nothing? What other option is there? I don't see any other. Oh, we could cut government down. What? Come on. I'm Alan Barton. Stand by for the front page. With yet another of our ongoing series of budget crises looming, the Heritage Foundation steps forth with a plan of its own to fix the nation's debt problem. And joining me to talk about the plan are the panelists, Don Watkins with the Ayn Rand Center for Individual Rights and Terry Jones, Associate Editor of Investors Business Daily. And from Washington, D.C., we have Alison Fraser, Director of the Institute for Economic Policy Studies at the Heritage Foundation. Alison, pleasure to have you with us. Thanks for being here.
Great to be with you.
All right, the Heritage Foundation's research shows obviously a gigantic, huge gap between spending and income in the U.S. over the next 25 years. So how would the Foundation's plan address this?
Well, I tell you what we wouldn't do. We would not do nothing, and we wouldn't raise taxes. Those are the first two things that I think are really important in this. Our vision is for limited government, low taxes, and low government spending. So what we do is to take on front and center entitlement programs, Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. And what we do in a nutshell is to really focus our resources on those who need them the most. And that would be low-income people. And we strengthen both Social Security and Medicare for seniors, offering additional protections that aren't there today. But if you're more well off, we don't lock in your benefits, and in exchange, we don't raise your taxes or your kids or your grandkids.
Well, clearly you are misguided, Alison, because the president proposes balancing the budget by simply getting the rich to pay more. You see, this is what we're all missing. Let's take a listen to the president.
I believe that people who have been really blessed in the society like me and have, a very, very, very good income can afford to pay a little bit more. Nothing crazy. Just go back to the rates that existed when Bill Clinton was president. That wasn't that long ago.
All right, and as I always say, I'll trade you those tax rates for the spending levels of the late Clinton era. That would be fine with me. But Alison, could we return the country to sanity if we just applied Bill Clinton's tax rates to this problem?
One word, nope. Not at all. We couldn't even get close. And let's not forget here, folks, that Bill Clinton did cut taxes. All of our liberal friends seem to forget that in 1998, with the Republican Congress, he cut capital gains taxes, and that was one of the most fundamentally important things to that late 90s kind of growth surge that we had. And, all of this, vitriol about raising taxes on the rich, here's the simple fact, that to close the deficit today by simply raising taxes on the rich, you'd have to have top marginal tax rates that are like 135%. You and I know that's mathematically impossible.
Well, if they would just work harder, Alison, we could get to that. We could get to that 135%.
Again, my mistake.
And take all of it. So clearly, all right. Let's bring in our panelists.
And then some.
Yeah, exactly. Don, many of the social democracies of Europe have tax rates far in excess of what we pay in the U.S., and they've got high income tax and they've got VAT, value-added tax, in addition to that. So, and they seem to provide for their citizens. There's not uprisings. There's not, they seem to be doing all right. So what's the problem if we continue to move in that direction?
Well, the problem, that quote by Obama, just knocks my socks off. An American president, if you told Thomas Jefferson an American president is going to go around deciding how much of my money I can afford to have him take, he would say that's ridiculous. And the fact of the matter is, the issue in Europe, yeah, in a certain way you can make a welfare state sustainable if you ration and don't give people the freedom to use their wealth to pursue their happiness as they see fit. But the basic issue is that is not the role of the government to decide how much of my money should go to what causes. That's for me to decide. And so the real aim has to be not how do we make the entitlement state, the welfare state, sustainable, but is how do we move towards an actual limited government, which was the actual American system, although not the one that our current president wants us to have.
I think if you paid a little bit more, you would simply just be a happier person. Alison, let's just go back to you. Another graphic in the Heritage
Report. You're sticking with that theme today.
So, yeah, Another graphic in the report shows the futility of trying to deal with discretionary spending and financing of entitlements. This is the big deal, and it gets demagogued immediately. I mean, Paul Ryan said when he released his plan, like, the only way they can attack it is to demagogue it and lie about it, which they will, and they are doing, the people on the left who are more in favor of spending. So how would you deal more specifically in terms of Social Security and health care? And in a way, how do you deal with how they're going to describe it, which is that you want old people to starve and such as that?
Yeah, you know, and that is just so vile. The characterizations of Paul Ryan's plan, and soon to be, I'm sure, the Heritage Plan as well, is that we basically want, you know, Granny on cat food and kick her out of the nursing home, and nothing could be further from the truth. So our fundamental difference is, rather than locking in all of these benefits and enhancing them and growing them and having more more government control over the way these dollars are spent, and not taking care of the very lowest income. That's what we do in our plan. So under Social Security, we have a minimum benefit that's above the poverty level. Social Security today does not afford that. And then we go actually to a flat benefit, and it's at that level just above poverty. So our plan guarantees that if you're a senior, you can live free from fear that you'll fall into poverty if something bad happens to you, or you're low income throughout your working life. And if you're more well off, you're not going to be getting as large of a Social Security benefit. And if you're very well off, you actually don't get one at all. Under Medicare, we go to a premium support kind of system that we think, you know, it's a rational system that brings choice and competition into the market. What a concept. We do want a healthcare market, unlike, you know, not under government control. But we also add protection for catastrophic healthcare illnesses, so people under Medicare don't have to go bankrupt, which is what happens today. We strengthen the programs for seniors, especially targeting them at for the lower income levels. But if you're more well off, you don't need those benefits. It's the insidious trap of big government that is too easy for even conservatives and libertarians to fall under.
All right, Terry, I want to bring you into this. You know, we're finally getting to the point of talking about this infamous third rail of politics, Social Security, Medicare, these big entitlements. It seems to be that it's accepted now that you are talking about how to fix them, and everyone realizes that they are going bankrupt. But you know, polling says that people go like, don't touch my Medicare stuff. We don't know how accurate that is, but there certainly is a sentiment in the public of like, don't touch the stuff that's coming my way. Do you think that they can be talked to in a rational way and change that viewpoint? Because the big thing is, give me what I'm supposed to have.
I think there's a huge education that has to be done here. Look, we every month IBD has its IBD tip poll, and we go out and we ask people these questions. And one of the questions that's periodically asked in this poll is we ask them about Medicare and about Social Security. And what we find is that people do not like the idea of having the benefits change, but they do like the idea of having wealthy people pay more for their benefits or get less in return. So, I mean, I think this is one thing that is currently doable, where you move wealthy people off of what is essentially a welfare system and have them provide for more of their own care. But I think there needs to be a further education of the average person about the dire situation that the healthcare funds are in. You know, just today, the trustees of Medicare and Social Security came out with a new report moving up by 5 years the time that it will be completely bust. So we don't have much time, and it has to be part of this current discussion, or we're going to be in big trouble.
Alison, going back to you, I have one last question. The Heritage Plan envisions a flat tax, and only on consumption.
We do.
Is this in lieu of income taxes and other taxes? Is this like the fair tax?
That's
program?
right. Yeah, well, it's not a fair tax. It's a flat income tax that is a tax on expenditures. And basically what we do is to take all income taxes, corporate, individual, get rid of them. And we take the payroll tax, get rid of it, almost all excise taxes and the death tax and so forth, get rid of all of that and replace it with what we call a flat income expenditure tax. So we do this by taxing only wage and labor income minus what is saved and invested. That's how we kind of get to this, expenditure element. It's a consumption tax, very pro-saving, very pro-investment, and we think that one of the necessary elements in any plan, and it is a fundamental part of ours, is having the best tax system that's going to foster the most growth.
All right, Alison, thank you so much. You can find the entire Heritage Foundation report or read more of Alison Fraser's work at heritage.org. And viewers, the Heritage Foundation is one of 6 prominent think tanks that are working on developing solutions to fiscal problems as part of an initiative spearheaded by the Peter G. Peterson Foundation. Other participants include the American Enterprise Institute, the Bipartisan Policy Center, and Think Progress, and we plan on talking to each think tank taking part in the program. That's all the time we have. Please add your voice to the mix. Is this the year Congress finally gets serious about reforming our budget, or are we in for more of the same? Click the comment button below. Join the discussion. For Alison Fraser, Don Watkins, and Terry Jones, I'm Alan Barton. You've been watching Front Page.